So the last time we got together, we were talking about programming a simulation, and I was introducing you to some concepts like what's a variable in programming. And also we looked at conditional statements like if-thens. And in this particular today, or in this video, we're going to look at another simulation, and it's also going to include if-thens. We can see that this is again relating to the sports card and the serial simulation. What I did is I changed the first statement to check to see if when we generate a random number between 0 and 9, do we get 2, 3, or 4? And if we do, we'll say we got a Danica. And if we got a 0 or 1, we say we got a LeBron. And if we get anything else, we'll say Serena. Now, this is just a different way of attacking the same problem that we looked at the last time. Now, I didn't necessarily want to stress the if-then in this particular case, but I do want to expose you to it again. Again, something that I'd like to point out is after your if statement, you need to have a colon. And then when you go to the next line, you have to have an indentation. So whatever I put on the next line after an if statement, if I want it to be executed, if the statement is true, then it's got to be indented. Otherwise, there will be problems. Okay, so for example, if I did this, I believe the program's going to come up and say there's an error. Let me give it a try. Yep, sure enough, it does not like that. For number 7, it's not sure what the heck is going on. On the other hand, if I simply indent number 7 and I hit run, then the whole thing runs. We randomly got a 3. That means that we should have gotten a Danica, so yay. All right, so anyways, so indentation in our if-then conditional statements is important. Now, what else about an if-then? Well, with an if-then, this part here is known as the condition. And if this condition is true, then we do what comes on the next line. If this condition up here is false, then what we do is we go and check we check the else if, and we keep checking else ifs for as many of them as there are, all the way down to checking the else. You do not have to have an else, and you do not have to have an else if. You could simply have an if-then that just has the one condition and the one result. Oh, also we can have many things after one particular if. So for example, we could say if this is true, then print Danica, and we can also do other stuff. We can say let x equal 7, and then we can say print x, or whatever else we want to do. As long as all of the things under the if are indented, all of these things will happen if this condition up here is all true. Now remember, it's box equals 2, or box equals 3, or box equals 4. Because it's ors, if any one of these things is true, then the entire conditional statement is true. Okay, so I just wanted to give you a little bit of background on that because we're going to be building our program and there's going to be more to it and it's going to get more complicated. Oh, let me go ahead and run this so you can see the x equals 7. So we'll see if we get a Danica. Okay, so we got a Danica, and we not only did we print Danica, not only did we print it here, but we set x equal to 7 and then we printed x, and that's why the 7 appears there. And you notice that we did not print LeBron and we did not print Serena because in an if statement, when it's combined together with else ifs and elses, we only do one of these things. And as soon as you're done with it, then you leave the entire if statement. Also notice each part of the if statement, the if, the else if, and the else, all must have a colon after them before we go to the next line and indent. All right, now let's get on to some really cool stuff called looping. This is where the real power of a computer comes in. Let's say that I want to rerun this thing over and over again, and I don't want to have to hit the return button. I don't want to have to hit the run button myself. By the way, I am going to hit the run button a few times just so you can see what happens. So run, 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 run. Okay, great. So now I'm going to say, what if we want to do this more times? One way to do this is a looping statement called the while. So I'm going to say while, and then I'm going to, you have to give it a condition. So you will continue to loop while something is true. So I'm going to say while there's a couple ways that I normally do this. And by the way, there's many ways to do the while, but a lot of times I'll do while done or while not done. Or I'll do while to get to some number. In this case, I'm going to do while done. So I'm going to say while not done would make more sense, okay? So we're going to say while not done, I'm going to put a colon there, and then we're going to start a loop. Now, in order to make it so that this entire if statement goes through my loop again and again, I'm going to highlight all the text. By the way I'm doing this is I hold the shift key on the keyboard and then down arrow. And then I highlight all the text, and then I'm going to hit the tab key. And that puts everything in an indent under the while. Now, the program is not happy because I haven't declared not done. I haven't set it to some value. So I'm going to initially set not done equal to 1. And in computer language, a lot of times a 1 means true and a 0 means false. So we're going to say, yeah, it's true that we're not done. So I'm going to set not done equal to 1. Now that'll let this thing run. Now, if I don't do anything else, this thing is going to run forever. It's known as an infinite loop. We don't like infinite loops. Computers don't like infinite loops. So what we're going to do is we're going to put some code in here to try to make it so this loop only runs so many times. So one thing that we can do is we can have a counter. So I'm going to say count equals count plus 1. And if we're going to do that before we begin, we have to set count to something. So I'm going to say count equals 0. Okay, so now we have a counter that can go up. And we're going to say, let's see here, if count equals 10, we're checking, so we got to equal 10, colon, next line with indent, then we can say not done should be false, because now we're done. Okay, so I believe this code will work, and it might not, and that's okay. That is one of the beautiful things about writing code, is that you can try it. You can try it again and again and again and test and see what works and what doesn't work. So let me go ahead and hit run. And whoa, I got a bunch of LeBrons. Now, that is suspicious to me. This time I got a bunch of Danikas, and this time I got a bunch of Danikas. Okay, so something is wrong in my code. It actually seems like it might be working because I am doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 loops. I am looping 10 times. So my while not done and my if and these statements here, they are working as planned. What's not working is something's happening that's wrong here. Oh, I see what it is. We set box to be some random value here, but that was before we loop 10 times. So in order to make this work, I'm going to need to take this box value, and I'm going to need to choose a new random value every single time we go through the loop. So I'm going to go ahead and paste this guy here. Now every time we loop, I'll set box to a new random value, and then we'll check to see whether we got a Danica, LeBron, or Serena. So here we go. Let's run. Ooh, that looks a little better. And whoa, interesting. We are getting a lot more Serenas than anything else, and that kind of makes sense because remember, Serena can be 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9, which is more options than the other two. I'm going to hit this and let it, oh, by the way, you'll notice that the number at the top is now meaningless because we're not using this box anymore. So I'm just going to get rid of that. And then I'm going to hit run and run and run and run. And this is kind of fun. This is kind of cool. Now, something that's really amazing about this, and that one of the cool things about computers, is if I change this 10 to 100, the computer doesn't miss a beat. If I hit run, I now all of a sudden have 100 times of choosing a number from 0 to 9 and then determining whether it's Danica, LeBron, or Serena. And if I make it 1,000, the computer also, it's hardly nothing to the computer. Now, I will admit something to you, is that this 1,000 is taking way longer than it should, and part of the reason is because when running this code online and printing this stuff out, it does slow the program down, and one way we can speed the program up is to get rid of the print statements, And in this case, that would be kind of silly because the print statements are actually needed by me. Let's see here, oops. But I am going to go ahead and get rid of the print statements. And this time, I think what I'll do, just to make sure that I know that the program ended, at the very end of it, I'm going to say print, let's see, after we're done with the loop, I'm going to, and notice now that I'm saying I'm done with the loop, I indent all the way back to the beginning. I'm going to say print count. Let's do that in parentheses. Okay, so this print statement should print 1,000 when I'm done, and it'll let me know that everything worked. And because I commented out the print Danica, LeBron, and Serena, this will run really fast even though there's 1,000 times in the loop. So here we go. 3, 2, 1, go. Uh-oh. Dang it, I forgot. But the program does not like it if I don't have anything running inside my if statement. So I'm just going to put a couple of dummy statements. I'm going to say x equals 0 here for no good reason. I'm going to say x equals 0 here for no good reason. And my else also needs something. So I'm going to say x equals 0 here. Now I'll go ahead and we'll try the running 1,000 times. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, boom. That's how quickly it comes up when we don't print all those statements. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of some of this extra stuff that I put in there. I don't need the x equals 0. I'm just trying to demonstrate some interesting concepts for you. Okay, and we don't need these hashtags because we want these things to print. We're just not going to do this 1,000 times. We'll do it like 10 times. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead, run. I don't even care if I print the count anymore. Maybe I will, I don't know. Anyways, for right now, we've got a loop that randomly chooses a box of cereal. It purchases a box of cereal and randomly determines which prize it is, Danica, LeBron, or Serena, and then it tells us which one we got. This is pretty powerful, this looping concept. Okay, now I want you to experience the magic of looping, and one way you're going to do that is you're going to write this code. This is all the code that's needed. You don't need to do all the other fancy things I did unless you want to for fun. But what you're going to do is you're going to expand this program. You're going to make it so that we print begin before you will print the word begin before each of these. Okay, so in the loop you're going to print begin so that it appears before each of these. And then you're going to print the word end after each one of these. So if you do it correctly, there will be a begin before Serena and an end after. And then a begin before the next Serena and then an end after. And a begin before the Danica and an end after. You're going to try to write this code and add the statements that are needed to print begin before and end after every time through the loop. Now, I do want to point out that it's important to have import random if we're going to use this random statement here. And I think that's about it. If you can get that done, you're doing pretty well. You are going to run into errors when you're writing your code, and I expect you to work with your teammates and call me over if need be. And make sure that you're doing your indentations correctly. You can see there's a lot of indentations here, and you really need to be very specific and exact in writing your code. Okay, I think that's a pretty good challenge for now. Go for it.